Welcome to WebSeriesOnFire.com, where talented filmmakers share their inspiring stories from concept to execution. And now, here is your host, Peter Papagiorgio.
Welcome to WebSeriesOnFire.com. I'm your host, Peter Papagiorgio, and I'm going to be sharing the stories and journeys of the creators of the hottest new web series in the entertainment industry. My guest today is a composer, a writer, and a producer, and he is the creator of a fantastic web series called Class Act, and his name is Rob Valle. Rob, are you ready to ignite the entertainment industry with your web series, buddy?
Absolutely. Ready to ignite, and also very grateful to be on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you, Rob. I'll give a little disclaimer now that I am friends with Rob, and I grew up with Rob in Astoria, Queens, so we could talk about that too down the road. Rob, you want to give us, I kind of know, but you want to give the audience a little quick kind of glimpse of your personal life. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? What you study?
Sure. Well, folks, I grew up in the New York City area, and I'm married, have a couple of kids. And, growing up, I've always been a musician. I taught myself to play the guitar back in grade school, and I've never stopped, and I play quite a few instruments now. And in terms of, well, that's a pretty tough way to make money. So in addition to that, I took a career in IT. And the interesting thing is, at this point in my life, producing music for film and television, those two skills have really come together. You really need to know your IT and your music when you're producing these complex scores. So my two interests really came together in a really nice way now at this point in my life.
Yeah, it's great. Do you want to tell the audience what your web series Class Act is about?
Oh, sure. So Class Act is basically a story about a former child actress named Jamie. And this is a girl with a heart of gold who wants to help other kids and wants to help them avoid some of the pitfalls that she went through and some of those challenges.
She's played by Erin.
She's played by Erin Anye, and
Okay.
that is actually my future daughter-in-law. So this is kind of a family.
It's a family affair.
Yeah. But she starts an acting class to help kids out. So the kids are all teens. And we have, of course, a villain in our show named Zelda. So she's kind of the evil
casting director. Yeah, I watched the first episode.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched the show, think Ursula meets Cruella de Vil, performed by an LA comic. So
I think her name is Joy Nash.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun, and in addition to the kids, and I should mention we had a great cast doing the show. We had Jaden Giron, who actually plays young Cece on New Girl, and we had Major Kurta playing one of the boys, and he's a veteran of Nickelodeon and is actually on the new WB series Riverdale, where he has a recurring role.
How'd you get them? Just from a casting call, or?
Casting calls, and they liked the script, So for me as the writer, it was just a tremendous compliment that they reviewed the script, and on the strength of the script, they wanted to get involved with the project. So
nice.
Pretty exciting stuff. And the other aspect of the show is we surrounded Jamie with a boyfriend who's an indie filmmaker named Fritz. His best friend, played by Kyle Valle, right?
Who has his own web series, right?
Yes, he's done Journeyman, which won a prize for Best Science Fiction web series recently in LA. And
I'll get him on the show too.
Sounds good. Yeah. And his best friend in the show is Tony, a musician. Now, he's played by Mickey Church, lead singer of an LA band called White Arrows. So again, just a lot of talent involved with this thing. And then Jamie also has a roommate who's an actress. And so as you watch these four, whether they're at the apartment or the classroom, it has kind of a Friends vibe. It's more of an adult vibe. And when we're in the classroom, it has more of a, let's call it a High School Musical or a Glee type of vibe.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And because we have a musician, we also feature some music in the show. So a little bit of everything, a little bit of everything for everyone. And, I think I developed this because I was frustrated with a lot of the kids shows on Nick and Disney, which really played down to the audience. And I've always had the philosophy that good entertainment for younger folks should be equally enjoyable by families, by adults. So that was really the target I was after.
I definitely got that because when I watched the first episode, it had a funness about it.
It had a funness, but it also didn't, play down to kids.
No, it didn't do that at all. And you wrote the song Class Act too.
Yep, I did the theme song, and it features some other original songs within episodes. But the theme song was a lot of fun.
How long did it take you to do that? To write the song?
I'm kind of a fast writer, so the writing of the song doesn't take long. I'll grab a guitar and knock out a song in under an hour. But the interesting story behind the song is that here I am writing a song, and I currently live in Florida. I'm actually in LA right now as we speak, but I travel a lot. So I live in Florida. I write this song in Florida. I had the music produced in Nashville by a friend of mine who has a recording studio there. And
you want to give them a plug?
Gary Carter. Yeah, he's a fantastic country musician, has a whole network of musicians, has produced for countless people. Look him up, quite famous in his own right. And then we had the cast from the show do the singing. So, written in Florida, music recorded in a Nashville studio, and all the singing done in a studio out in Los Angeles. So it's kind of funny. You should listen to one song to know it literally spanned the United States.
That's true, from East Coast to West Coast.
Exactly.
Rob, what inspired you to create the series?
Well, again, it starts with, my frustration with a lot of the kids' entertainment. And then something in real life happened that gave me the idea for this show. Kyle and Erin have a production company called Big Squid Studios. And back a year ago, they were doing some reels. They were helping some kids out and filming some reels for these kids. And Erin was coaching these younger kids just to help them perform better, kind of give their best shot for the camera, get them comfortable, etc. And the moms that were with the kids commented, "Wow, Erin, you're so good with the kids. You should really be an acting coach. You do such a good job." And that was the germ for the idea. There it was.
So basically, Erin and Kyle told you that whole scenario, what had happened?
They gave me that scenario, and I said, "Wow, that's a show." And nice. So I took that and pieced together a show. And so our star, Jayden Geron, plays a girl who is brought to tears by Zelda. And our star, Jamie, bumps into her, sees this poor girl crying in tears, finds out it's Zelda, rips Zelda a new one, comes out, and the mom then says, "You should start an acting class and help other girls like Ariel," which is Jayden's name in the show. And so it's actually a TV show imitating real life in this case.
Right. Yeah. Well, Rob, what was your I always ask people, what was your concept to creation? Did you have notes? Was in your mind, did you say, okay, this is going to be a web series? How did you structure it?
Okay. So it starts with that basic idea, right? The elevator speech, the description of the show that you can do in a couple of sentences. And I really felt I had something with this acting coach, with the kids, with this evil casting director surrounding the teacher with friends. And from there, I started to sketch out the characters. So before I started outlining the episodes and the plots, I kind of had an idea in my head of where the story would go. I really wanted to fill out the characters. So I did pretty detailed descriptions of my characters, their backgrounds, where they were coming from, physical descriptions, the whole darn thing. And then from there, I started fleshing out the actual storyline. And so I had some long storylines that would run through multiple episodes, as well as the smaller within episode story arcs. So kind of just followed that process. And once I had those outlines, I have to tell you, I just jumped on the computer, and this thing wrote itself. These things these people became alive for me. And it was just about as fast as I could type, I could pump out these stories after I did that pre-work.
Right, and at that point, you basically you had a reading with some actors and just got feedback.
Exactly, and we did some tuning, and some of the lines and so forth didn't quite work in real life with the actors, so we did a few changes on the spot. But pretty much what we filmed is pretty much what I wrote. It stood out pretty well.
Very good. Now, there's 4 episodes of Class Act, right? That are
yes, there are 4 episodes, and
they're available on Me Now TV, MEW
MEWNOWTV.com.
Right.
Yeah, that's the distribution channel.
That's the platform. So basically, there's 4 episodes, and if you want to see more, there's kind of like a premium fee to upgrade where you can see the rest of the episodes, right?
Yeah, I think the first 3 are free. One is one, you pay a $6 fee, you get unlimited access for a year to all the shows that are out there. And I'll also give away this secret: we have more footage and more episodes. We call them vignettes. So these episodes are rather long. They're about 15 or 16 minutes each, which is quite long for a web series.
I think because the one I watched, I think was about 16 and a half, 17. Yeah.
Yeah. And what we have in the can, and we're going to be releasing these later on in the year, are what we call vignettes. So while these are episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to see some 3-minute episodes called 1.1, 2.1, and 3.1. And these will flesh out the characters, will fill in the story a bit. You don't need to watch it to see the full story arc, but they'll just let you fall more in love with the characters. So those are coming soon.
Are you thinking of doing a second season, or?
Well, we'll see how the vignettes make out. Right now, we're pretty busy with a feature film, so we're a little crazed right now. We're putting out a feature film called ZombieCon, targeted for Halloween, and I'm doing the score for this thing. You're doing the music
for that, and that's written by Kyle, your son, right?
Yep, that's written by Kyle, and Manny, his writing partner. And I'm doing some original music for that one, as well as the score. So we have some original songs and a score. And this is my first time doing 5.1 sound. So I had to expand the rig at the recording studio a bit, and now we're doing something new.
Nice. What did you have any obstacles you had to overcome when you were shooting? Any funny stories you want to tell the audience?
No funny stories in particular. The one thing I got over and over back from the parents of the kids and from the cast was that they really enjoyed the show.
There was no obstacles, like you didn't lose locations or get chased by the police because you had no permit, things like that, or.
No, we actually did it by the numbers, and we had our permits. And because we were using kids under 18, we had to have I'll probably use the wrong terminology here. Kyle was handling this. I guess basically teachers, but we had to hire teachers for the kids in order to use them. So it was kind of an interesting process working with kids. There's a little bit of extra work and expense involved.
Sure.
But the cool thing was they all came back and just gave us the greatest feedback. It was just, from everything I've heard, it was just a joy. They just had a blast. And when this thing wrapped up, it was one of several series for this Mew Now TV platform. And they had a very nice launch party for all the casts from all the different shows. They had a signing event. And for these kids, I just know they had a wonderful time, and I'm hoping we can put out a second season next year, since they all had so much fun. We had fun, and just a matter of this show finding its audience.
Yeah, I definitely sensed that when I watched the first episode. That there's a lot of fun there. Yeah. Rob.
Yep.
Yeah. What kind of I lost you for a second there. I heard some noises. What kind of camera and equipment did you use? You had a sound guy, obviously. What kind of camera did you use? Did you use more than one camera?
I believe they shot it with one camera. Again, I'm not the camera guy, and I was actually physically not there for the shooting, right? So I wrote the show, and I did the score for the show, and I did the songs for the show. So I thought maybe your listeners might be interested to hear from a music producer versus a camera guy. Mm-hmm. And so, for those interested in the sound side of this, let me talk about that equipment. So,
okay.
Right. So for me, I have a studio, and I use something called Cubase. So that's my software product, my DAW, they call that, right? Digital Audio Workstation. Mm-hmm. The most common one is Pro Tools. I use Cubase. They all kind of do the same thing. And I'll just mention Cubase. It's what Hans Zimmer uses. So I figure if it's good enough for Hans, I think it's good enough.
That's true. If it's good enough yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then, so within this studio, I have multiple keyboards. I have a full-scale electronic drum set. I've got a 16-channel control surface and mixer. With Cubase, you can literally produce hundreds of channels that you can mix together, and you can throw your audio tracks there, your music tracks, your sound effects, etc. I use virtual instruments from a company called East West, which is an LA company, and they just have marvelous orchestra instruments to all sorts of synths and world instruments, and you name it, even human voices. Wow. I use monitors. These things are called PreSonus Scepter Monitors. So they're these really odd-looking things where they put the tweeter on top of the woofer to keep everything in phase. And again, with monitors, you're looking for a flat sound that doesn't add bass, doesn't add treble. It's just a very neutral, pure, natural sound when you're doing your mixing. And then if you were to look along the wall of this studio, you'd see a collection of guitars and basses and mandolins and banjos. And I've got things from Fender, Gibson, G&L, Music Man, Rickenbacker, you name it. I've been collecting guitars for quite a while, and I try to put them all to use as I try to develop different sounds through multiple different types of amplifiers.
Well, you also did a fantastic job. I want to tell the audience you had done the song for my show, Late Bloomers. You wrote the song for that, and also for my wife's web series, All About Manos. You did a fantastic job doing the theme song for that too.
Oh, well, thank you. And I truly enjoy doing this. It is just a blast. I just love the music aspect of this.
Yeah. Rob, what's your next plan in regards to Class Act?
First we finish ZombieCon, and then we're going to put out those three things.
Do you want to tell the audience a little quick glimpse of what ZombieCon is about?
Sure. So ZombieCon, again, our first feature film, and it's going to be a story about cosplayers, and I'm sure your audience, I don't need to explain what cosplayers are, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, you have a group of cosplayers in LA in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. So here are these young guys in their 20s, guys and gals.
Good demographic there.
Yep. And it's a little bit more real than the typical zombie movie in that as they find themselves in this zombie situation, they look around and it's like, we don't have guns and things. This is real. This isn't TV. What do we do? And they realize, our cosplay stuff. We have all these swords and things. And they need to get across town. One of the mothers is in trouble. So they've got to go across and under LA to get to the mom to save her. And they say, what the hell? Let's put on our cosplay gear and let's go out in style. And they grab their swords and their samurai swords and all these things, and off they go. So it kind of brings together all these elements of anime and cosplay and zombies and horror.
Is it going to have humor. I was going to say, it's going to have any campiness somewhat?
Just a little bit. I would call it more humor than campiness, but this is more a straight up story. And I've been well as the guy scoring it. I've actually seen it quite a few times, the rough cut of the film, and now it's getting towards final cut. And I think the actors just did a phenomenal job. So I think the audience will enjoy this. So we'll see what we can do in terms of distribution. We'll definitely have some sort of digital distribution, and we're looking at doing Japanese and Chinese versions, and we're potentially going to be doing some overseas distribution as well. So,
nice. Rob, you want to tell the audience your contact information, website?
Oh, well, it's easy, guys. It's Rob Valle, Valle. Just throw that into Google and you'll see all sorts of websites for me, and you'll be able to hear my music. And I'm in IMDb. I'm in Reverb Nation. I've got a website of my own. And you can hear samples and songs I've done and so forth. And, please take a peek. And I hope you enjoy the music if you get a chance to listen to it.
Cool. Well, we're going to actually... as we end the show now, we're going to kind of like end the show with your song for Class Act.
Oh, that would be cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And again, I hope the audience enjoys it.
Well, thank you, Rob, for being on webseriesonfire.com.
Oh, it was absolutely my pleasure. It was a blast talking about this thing, and always a pleasure chatting with you, Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Well, that wraps up webseriesonfire.com. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please email me at webseriesonfire@gmail.com. Please like us on Facebook and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to webseriesonfire.com with your host, Peter Papagiorgio. We'll catch you next time.
You're always on our minds. Jamie, never met someone so kind. Hair of gold, eyes of blue. We can't help it, we love you. You're the one we need. Jamie, can't you see? You're a class act, heart of gold. Patient, kind, a perfect soul. You're a class act, helping friends. Always listen, lend a hand. Your touch is painted on our hearts. Your ways setting you apart. Always caring, always there. When there's trouble, always fair. We hang on every word, but mostly what we learned. You're a class act, heart of gold. Patient, kind, a perfect soul. You're a class act, helping friends. Always listen, lend a hand. We always turn to you. And Jamie, when we're seeing double, you help us to get through. You're a class act, heart of gold. Patient, kind, a perfect soul. You're a class act, helping friends. Always listen, lend a hand. You're a class act.